the resiliency and the strength of the metals markets has been extraordinary, and the worldwide accumulation won't stop today. In fact, it will continue to grow, and so I think that it's better for this country. I don't know where we would be at the end of 4 years, so let's all be optimistic and hope for the best. But this does not change the monetary side of things, and that's why you need to protect yourself with things like gold and silver, because the dollar is still in deep water. But maybe the country's on the upswing, at least in terms of our moral fabric.
Following a closely contested race, former President Donald Trump is set to become the 47th President of the United States. His America First policies have strengthened the U.S. dollar and increased bond yields, placing considerable pressure on gold and silver markets. Silver dropped by around 5%, reaching a 2-month low as renewed optimism for traditional markets and the potential for higher interest rates shifted investor sentiment. Gold, another traditional safe haven asset, declined by 3%. Andy Schectman, CEO of Miles Franklin Precious Metals, offers insights into the bullion market and the economic outlook following the November 2024 U.S. elections. While he recognizes the potential for short-term market fluctuations, Andy stresses that ongoing fiscal challenges, like the expanding national debt and persistent inflation, drive sustained, long-term demand for precious metals. He highlights the exceptional resilience of the metals market, pointing out that the global accumulation of precious metals remains robust and continues to grow. This steady demand, he believes, reflects a strong need for safe haven assets in uncertain financial times. Trump's return to office has fueled speculation about a potentially more aggressive Federal Reserve stance. If higher interest rates are introduced to combat inflation and boost economic growth, demand for non-yielding assets like gold and silver typically declines. Investor sentiment has shifted toward riskier assets, driven by optimism around potential pro-business policies. This shift in confidence has reduced demand for defensive assets, leading to lower prices for both silver and gold. For Andy Schectman, Trump's return to office represents an opportunity to pursue policies like low interest rates, a weaker dollar, and reduced taxes, measures Schectman views as inherently inflationary, likely fueling even greater demand for precious metals. He believes that inflation and a declining dollar are critical concerns, highlighting the need for individuals to safeguard their wealth through investments in gold and silver. In Schectman's view, these assets provide essential protection against the economic challenges that could arise from such policy shifts. We're about to explore the video, but first, subscribe and hit the bell icon to keep up with our newest uploads. Your feedback in the comments is always appreciated.
If he didn't sweep the House and had this same old partisan deadlock that we've seen for the last several years, where the Republicans held the House and the Democrats the Senate, nothing substantive ever got done. You never saw anything other than typically people voting along party lines. I would say that if that were the case, it would be not as good for gold as it is with both sides of the House and the Senate belonging to the Republicans, so that they will be able to pass legislation. And look, I think from a standpoint of, this is me talking here right now, okay? For me, the reason I wanted Trump to win is that as someone who voted with his feet and left Minnesota, I've had enough of the wokeness and the BLM and the LGBTQ and to last me a lifetime. I wanted to get back to the sanity where people were admitted into colleges and to careers based upon their merit, not upon their race or their color or their gender or their lifestyle. I wanted to find some form of credibility that would be regained in things like the FBI and the DOJ. And I think maybe yesterday we maybe took a step towards renewed faith in our electoral system, things that I've talked about on your show forever that had bothered me. And this election, to me, which really bothered me, was not just Trump versus Kamala. And then again, it was Trump versus Kamala, the Obamas, the deep state, the media, every major corporation, every celebrity, every musician, every university, all the social media platforms, except yours and mine and a few others, and even the rhinos, the Republicans that pretended to be Republicans, even the Avengers, for goodness sake. It was just too much in the way of...
You didn't mention the World Economic Forum and the UN.
Yeah, and that's just too much. And I like the idea of going back to some form of sanity, and getting rid of this baseless, inflammatory rhetoric. That to me is why I wanted Trump in office. But look, the truth of the matter is he wants low interest rates. He wants a weaker dollar. He wants lower taxes. All of this is inflationary in the respect that they will spend. We don't have a surplus. Well, we have deficits that will continue to grow. We have inflation that will continue to accelerate, lowering interest rates. With all of the money in the system, with stocks and real estates at all-time highs, we have not signaled victory over inflation. They're waving the white flag against inflation. So inflation is here to stay. What you saw today was a knee-jerk reaction. The markets are always very reactionary, and it's laughable how much it is. But, you look at the massive short positions that the commercial banks have in London and in New York. Maybe they looked at this as an opportunity to smack it and cover some of these positions. My guess is within a day or two, it'll be right back where it was. The resiliency and the strength of the metals markets has been extraordinary, and the worldwide accumulation won't stop today. In fact, it will continue to grow. And so I think that, yeah, it's better for this country.
If inflation rises due to increased fiscal spending, silver and gold could experience a surge in demand as protective hedges against eroding purchasing power. Furthermore, any geopolitical tensions or unexpected economic shifts could swiftly reverse the current downward trend in precious metals, reigniting investor interest in safe haven assets. As gold investors closely monitor the upcoming Federal Reserve policy meeting, they are eager for indications on the pace of interest rate cuts. The expectation of multiple rate cuts has been a key driver behind bullion's remarkable rally this year, with investors looking for clues on how the Fed's actions will shape the future of precious metals. Schectman argues that these economic conditions are more likely to drive the gold bull market forward than to hinder it, as global shifts and rising government spending make precious metals increasingly attractive. For Schectman, precious metals are essential for safeguarding wealth in a landscape marked by fiscal mismanagement and the consequences of excessive national debt, urging investors to focus on gold and silver for long-term security. Now, let's redirect our attention to a video.
Deutsche Bank is saying by 2029 they see $4,000 an ounce gold. I think that's very conservative. It'll probably happen before that. And this is with Trump in office. Trump with tariffs are higher than Trump without tariffs. And of course, Trump with a unified House and Senate make it that much easier for them to do what all governments, including Trump, have done, and that is to spend and to go deeper into debt, borrow more money and spend. And so, it's through taxation and borrowing, really, where they're able to fund the efforts of the government that have really gotten out of control. So that's why I don't think we'll see a substantive change in the gold bull market. I think, in fact, it's just beginning. And there are a lot of shifts going on around the world. And I think Trump has a lot of things that he's going to try to remedy and to fix. I do think there will be an awakening by the mainstream that traditional assets really aren't as safe, and traditional places like bank accounts aren't that safe. Just like the First National Bank of Lindsay, Oklahoma, as we talked about, where $3.5 million is gone. And yet they bail out Oprah Winfrey and all the Silicon Valley tech startups in Silicon Valley Bank to the tune of hundreds of millions, if not more, in uninsured deposits. Throwing a trial balloon out in flyover country in Podunk, Oklahoma, where half of those uninsured deposits are gone forever, should make people take a step back and realize that, maybe we should reevaluate. Now, a lot of the people watching this show already have, but it will take something else to make the elephant in the room turn around and say, whoa, it's about time that I look to something else. And when you see the most knowledgeable investors in the world buying it at the level they are, the central banks, that's all you should need to see. Nothing else matters. Everything else is misdirection and rhetoric. Their actions certainly tell you that gold and silver are very, very, very important to where we are going ultimately. So while this is a day to rejoice, don't get, I think, thrown off the bull for the wrong reason, because he'll do the best he can to buck you off at all times. And while this is a great day for our country, it doesn't change the fact
Trump's victory signals a potential shift for both the U.S. economy and global markets, with its uncertain implications for precious metals. Investors are expected to scrutinize the administration's first 100 days for signs of economic policies that could influence silver and gold prices. Additionally, all eyes are on the Federal Reserve's interest rate decision on Thursday, as the bank's easing cycle has played a key role in driving gold to successive record highs this year. How do you think Trump's economic policies will impact the future of gold and silver prices? In what ways do you believe the Federal Reserve's interest rate decisions will affect precious metals moving forward? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. If you found this content helpful, give it a thumbs up, and remember to subscribe to stay updated. Thank you for being a part of this journey with us.